Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is Saturday, July 8th. I normally don't make videos on the weekend, but I don't know, man. I was bored, a little bit lonely, felt like talking to you guys. So I'm making this video. I don't think I'm going to talk too much about the markets. You know where I stand on that, and it's the weekend. Just want to relax a little bit. So tomorrow I am leaving for Los Angeles for about a week. I'm gonna go visit my son and daughter-in-law, and gonna hang out there with my son. And so, as you know, I'm down here in Florida, and I have to tell you that I'm a little bit homesick for New York. I gotta be honest. I'm a little bit homesick for New York. I don't know if if it's true when they say you could take the New Yorker out of New York, but you can't take New York out of the New Yorker. But I haven't been down here for very long, not even a month, and I'm just in a temporary residence right now, and I'm still trying to figure out where I want to be here in Florida, or if indeed I want to be back in Florida. I might end up moving back to New York. The one thing I have to say about New York, which is unique in the whole United States, is that you don't need a car. And I've had many cars in my life. I'm a car person. I like muscle cars. I've had Porsches. I had Corvettes. But I just can't stand driving all over the place. And I know like 99% of America, that's what it's all about. I mean, we live in our cars, and the smallest little thing, we got to get in the car and we got to go and wait at traffic lights and this and that. It drives me fucking crazy. I hate it. I hate it. The beauty about New York, as crappy and run down as it is, and it's still a great city, but I mean, you got public transportation and you could walk. I mean, everything was, within a couple of blocks of where I lived. And I miss that. I miss that convenience. I miss the 24/7 and just the convenience, man. And I don't have to get in a car all the time and drive everywhere. It's really a pain in the ass. I fucking hate it. But I'm going out to LA. LA is the same thing. I mean, where my son lives in West Hollywood, it's the same thing. I mean, it's really not it's not a walkable city. I mean, the only other city I've ever lived in where it was kind of walkable was Chicago, when I lived there in the early 90s. And I was a trader on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. That was pretty cool. But Chicago always felt like, they call it second city to New York, and it always felt that way to me. And I've told the anecdotal stories in the past about how when the New Yorkers came to the Chicago exchanges, they were always treated differently. And I thought that was kind of odd and unusual, because the Chicago exchanges blew away, in my opinion, what was going on in New York. They were much more innovative. The exchange itself, the Mercantile Exchange, was amazingly, just so modern and incredible back then. I mean, all those, all that floor trading has ended. Everything is computerized now. But I just was fascinated by, when the New Yorkers came, there was like not an awe on the part of the Chicago guys, but just like, not an antagonism, but there was just like this kind of, resistance. And I thought that was funny. But anyway, I'm down here in Florida. Today was a very kind of humid, rainy day. But the sun comes in and out. You know what they say about Florida: if you don't like the weather, just wait 15 minutes. And it'll change, and that's true. That's true in a tropical environment. And this is, it is summertime, so this is like the hurricane season and the storm season and this and that. So people are telling me, Mike, at least give it some time until October, November before you make a decision. So I'm going, I told you, after I come back from California, I'm going to go down to Guatemala to a town called Antigua. It's up in the mountains. They grow coffee. It's right next to an active volcano. If you Google it, or if you go on Instagram and hashtag Antigua Guatemala, I mean, it looks absolutely charming, absolutely beautiful. I'm very excited. I'm going on to visit some coffee farms and hopefully lock in some supplies. I want to start importing Guatemalan coffee. I'll start with Guatemala, then who knows, maybe I'll do Colombia. I was exploring Vietnam, the coffee situation there. I have a connection there, and I do like Vietnam Robusta. Since I've been getting into the coffee roasting hobby, which I want to try to turn into a business, I've been roasting a lot of Vietnamese Robusta. We don't normally, the coffee you buy in the store is Arabica. That's the brand or the type of bean. Robusta is much less consumed. It is consumed in espresso. It makes kind of like a creamier espresso. It has actually more caffeine than the Arabica bean, and I like that. And I find it to be delicious. The only thing I found out recently about the Vietnamese coffee is that it's kind of like mass produced with a lot of pesticides and stuff like that. And I want to kind of focus on sustainable farms. I want to try to hook up with, kind of like local farmers with sustainable production that is low use, if not zero use of pesticides and stuff like that. And I want to specialize in that when I bring the coffee in. I went to a roaster here in Palm Beach. I haven't spoken to them about where they're procuring their beans. I spoke to one of the employees there. They're saying that beans mostly come in from Colombia. Colombia and Brazil are the two largest exporters, and third is Vietnam. But Brazil also has this problem. I mean, I call it a problem with these mass-produced coffee farms that use a lot of pesticides and chemicals and stuff like that. Again, I want to try to source small local farmers with high quality beans. There's a lot to learn. I mean, there have been people since I started getting into this, which was like, I don't know, like about almost a year ago, right? I think like August 2022, when I started getting into this. I mean, there's a lot to learn. I mean, there've been people it's like anything else. It's like in the trading and the finance and economics. Like, I've been doing this for over 40 years. So like my knowledge base is very deep, but this is something completely new to me. And, when I listen to experts in the field, and it's very nuanced. It's very nuanced. I mean, you could actually almost compare coffee to wine growing, wine production, where you have people who, have been in that industry or in that business, or producers for generations, and they could literally blindfolded, you could give them wine and they could tell you, where it's coming from, the terrain, the type of soil, this kind of thing. Same thing with coffee. It's very, very nuanced. We think, I'm going to go and buy a can of Folgers. I mean, that commercial stuff is it's garbage. That shit is garbage. I mean, when you really get into it, and if you get into like home roasting, like doing your own roasting, and you see the difference, or you taste the difference between home roasted beans and the ground up shit that you get, in supermarkets. And even if you by the way, once you grind the beans, their lifespan, their potency, their flavor, everything, it degrades very, very quickly. Green coffee beans, in other words, green beans that are not yet roasted, that they could last, properly stored, they could last for a long time. Once you roast it, however, I talked about this yesterday. You gotta first you roast it, and then you got to give it a couple of days to kind of settle and degas. It's still releasing carbon dioxide and other gases, and then two to 3 days is kind of like ideal, and then it'll last. It'll last for a couple of weeks, no problem. But once you grind it up, you got to drink it. And again, I'll just reiterate what I said yesterday. Like, if you've never had freshly roasted coffee, I mean, it's amazing. The taste difference is, it's incomparable. You can't compare it to the if you're buying coffee in a can, or even if you're buying coffee like whole beans, you don't know how long it's been sitting on the shelf. You don't know how long it's been roasted. How long ago it was roasted. So, it's definitely better than buying, ground coffee. And, it's not expensive to buy a grinder. But the best way to do it is to get it from somebody, or to do it yourself, and to roast the beans and let them sit for a couple of days. And then when you brew that cup, man, wow. It is amazing. It is an amazing flavor. It's an amazing experience. It's just like, it's a stimulant to the body. It has a lot of beneficial compounds, a lot of healthy things, okay? It has antioxidants. People talk about tea. They talk about green tea, which is great. I drink a lot of green tea too, but coffee has just as much, if not more, antioxidants in it. And so, no, there's some really great health benefit aspects. Some people might get wired up on the caffeine. The caffeine doesn't really affect me. It depends. Like, if I'm drinking, I don't drink a lot of coffee. I have one cup, maybe 2 cups. I bought myself a little espresso machine, which is cool. You could get them on Amazon for like 20, 30, 40 bucks. And they're pressurized, and you could just, do a little shot of espresso. It's really nice. So I'm looking forward to that trip. And I just wanted to say hello to everybody. I hope you're doing well. It is July 8th. I can't believe we're already almost into the middle of the month of July. And yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know where I'm going to stay right now, but I'm going to take advantage of, I can move around, like, and check out different places. So I'll be in touch. Anyway, have a great rest of your Saturday. And maybe I see you guys from LA tomorrow, but if not, definitely on Monday. Take care. Bye.